In this video, I'm going to try and do something a little bit different because I like to interact with you guys and I like all the feedback that we receive. So I'm going to be having a look at some of the comments that you have said over the last week. If this does well, I will continue doing this week in, week out until all your questions are answered, because sometimes the videos do leave it a little bit vague and have questions. So keep asking the questions. Leave them in the comments here or leave them on the videos. I'll pick up on them and I will answer them as much as I possibly can. So we're going to start off with the Tech6593, who asked, I've just had a new screen put on this same model phone, but the screen keeps going off the phone, is still on and is vibrating, but the screen is blank. Can anyone help, please? Has the screen not been fitted correctly? I think you've answered that one in your own question there. It's probably either a faulty screen or a bad connection. If you've done it yourself, take it apart, start having a look at it again, and just make sure that everything's connected properly. FPC connectors can sometimes go in wonky and leave a little bit stuck out, or it might not be screwed down properly. So take it back to where you got it done, or take it apart yourself again and follow my instructions on that video. I think it was the S20 Plus video that one was talking about. So yeah, take a look at it again. User FH3WT1ZQ8Q said one day ago, feel like you should put a disclaimer in about the flex cables. I ripped them while trying to open the iPhone screen, and it turns out it's a classic rookie mistake, so a disclaimer would probably go a long way for other people out there. Now, I can understand that you're probably frustrated that you've broken the cables. Trying to blame me in my comments because you broke your cables, it's not my fault. But here's your disclaimer. When you open up iPhones, there is thin cables in there. Be very, very careful. It is, like you said, a rookie mistake. I've done the same myself. I've done it on an iPhone 14 screen not too long ago. Fortunately, it would have only been having a glass-only repair on it. So it was in for a replacement screen anyway. But yes, you're right. It's very easy to break some of those flex cables. In particular, be careful of that top flex cable. I'm pretty sure I talk about it in every video, to be careful of that top flex, because if you rip it, Face ID will stop working. Your boy Primus said, I connected my Pixel 6 Pro and the software says unable to connect the device. This is a really, really common problem when you calibrating the Touch ID on the Pixel series. So the Pixel 6, 6 Pro, 6A, 7, probably the 8, I've not had any in yet. But really, really common issue. You plug it into the PC and it's sort of not recognizing the phone. You put it into, I can't remember what the boot mode, what you put it into. You put it into a certain boot mode by pressing the up, down volume key and then power or something, and it won't connect when you connect the software online. The reason why it's not connecting is because you're not using an official cable, or you're not using a good cable. Go back, use your original cable from your box, or use an original Samsung or Google cable, and I promise you it'll work and connect and reprogram or recalibrate the Touch ID on the phone straight away, and it's really, really easy to use. We've got a forum or a Facebook group where that question pops up quite a lot, and generally the answer is the cable's the problem. Same when you boot in Samsungs into recovery mode, like the Samsung A series, you sometimes have to plug it into the PC. It needs to be with a good cable. End of. That's all you need to know. Next question. So this, just to add some context, this one's on the ear speaker cleaning video. Brushed for hours, did this, even used brake cleaner. Ear speaker is still as quiet as a silent fart. Like, can you help me? What the hell should I use and how to get it quickly? I wouldn't recommend brake cleaner. Just use alcohol like it says in the video. Just if you do that, it will come out. If the grot, what gets inside that ear speaker mesh, doesn't clear out, then there's another problem, and it's probably the speaker. What I get a lot of comments on that exact video is people who've got iPhone 12s. The iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro has a super, super common issue where the ear speaker fails, and there is another video on how to fix that on the channel. Just be aware when you're taking those screens apart that they can be difficult to remove, especially if you're a DIY repair person. So yeah, if after you've done the instructions in that video, it's still not working, it's probably the ear speaker that needs replacing, and it's not just muck in there. So moving on to the next question. I got my new back glass, but it's just a back glass with no parts attached. Does that mean that I have to go in through the front and remove everything? No, it doesn't mean that. So for the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, and then the 15 series, the back cover of the phone is removed the same way that you remove the front cover of a normal iPhone. However, it has got a frame attached to it similar to iPhone screens. If you get the back glass for the 14 and it's not got the frame attached, I would recommend just throwing it in the bin, send it back to wherever you bought it from and get one with a frame attached, because it's a nightmare trying to stick it back down, and it's even more difficult to remove that frame without damaging it and then trying to reuse it. It's just going to end up as a bodge job. Just buy one with the frame attached. There is aftermarket options available for that nowadays. AliExpress or eBay, you will find those parts, and even the ones with the Apple logo on them as well. So take a look for that. Use the one with the frame attached and you will be fine. Just do it that way. Honestly, it's not worth the hassle. Somebody says that they've replaced the charging port and flex cable and it still does it, just a little bit deeper. iPhone 11, it had a charging port problem by the sounds of it, and it restarts after 3 minutes. This is the same again. It's a parts issue. If you use aftermarket parts on these phones, they have got a thermistor inside the barometer of the charging port, and if the phone cannot communicate with that thermistor, then you will have problems because it will time out every 3 minutes. Imagine that the phone is programmed to check in with the thermistor to make sure that it's not overheating, and it does that every 180 seconds or 3 minutes. It can't communicate with the thermistor because it's not there, and because of that, the phone's just going to turn itself off as a safety precaution because it doesn't want the phone to overheat. So as an alternative, no thermistor, no power, turns itself off every 3 minutes. Let's let the ambulance go past. We're on like a really busy main road here, and like obviously you'll be able to see all the traffic going past all day, but it's also like one of the artery routes for Sheffield for the emergency services, so you get police, fire and ambulance all day long. So whenever I'm trying to record a video, every time I do it, I guarantee that there'll be some interruption, and it's usually when I'm making some kind of ASMR video. Anyway, moving on. Somebody very, very kindly made a super donation of $5. Fortner2000, I really appreciate it. I just want to add another note there that we've got on most of the videos now, the pinned comment on it is for a buy me a coffee link. So if you get some value from these videos, it'd be great if you could support the channel. It costs like a $5, and you can buy me a coffee, and it all just goes towards Alex's wages, who is the camera guy, or goes to buying new equipment. We're pretty good on equipment at the minute, but it just makes the videos better. That's what I'm trying to say. Right, moving on now. So thanks again, Fortner2000. I really appreciate it. That's the first one that anybody's ever done a super donation, and I really appreciate it. This is my last. Oh wait, I'm going to switch these around a little bit. Is there a way that you can remove the camera warning message? I've not looked into it fully, but I believe with the JC-V1 SE, this will come in another video. If somebody wants to send me a JC-V1 SE, I've not got one yet, we will have a look and see if we can get rid of the camera warning message. Similar to the Face ID repair flex or the battery repair tag-ons, then you can get these little flex cables that goes onto the wide angle camera, and I believe that you can get rid of the camera warning message that way. I think it's a permanent tag-on solution, so you keep the cable in at all times and probably have to fold it in some weird way. But let's come back and review that in a couple of weeks, because I'll get hold of the kit for that. If you keep giving me coffees, then we'll be able to afford it. And we'll have a look and see if we can get rid of the camera warning message. But up to now, we just usually say to the customer, look, the camera's broken, it needs replacing. When we replace it, it's not going to affect the functionality of the camera, but in settings it will say the same as when we replace screens on the 12. I'd say 12, 13, 14 series, 99.9% of customers don't really care, and they understand that that's the way that life goes. Now, my final and favourite one, you'll have to bear with me because I can't read very well, but Verona6553 said, as I got to the step to remove the battery, it began to smoke everywhere, then flames shot out of, I guess, the battery. I had been working on a wooden desk, quickly knocked to the floor, where it then set a rug on fire. I shouldn't laugh, this sounds serious. I have no idea what the issue was, but this Samsung battery started a large fire, burned holes in a rug, stunk up my house. Luckily, I was right near it when this happened. No clue why. Threw my smoking phone and battery out of the door onto the wet lawn. So, moral of the story, you have to read between the lines there. I'm going to guess that they were using metal tools around a lithium-ion battery, right? That's pretty serious, and we've seen it happen in the shop before. Accidents can happen, but accidents don't happen if you're using plastic tools. If you're using metal tools around batteries, it's easy to poke them and they go bang. They literally go with a real bang. I've burnt my fingers on it before. I've done it. Nathan's done it. It's just about the initiation process of owning or being a member of staff of a phone repair shop. Batteries go bang. You need to make sure that you've got some protocol in place if that shit does happen, because it can be scary. It's hot. It burns your fingers. Obviously, you don't want to pour water on it because that isn't going to help things. But we tend to have a, you know, like a bullet case, ammo can, whatever you call it. We have one of those on hand, and it's just a steel metal container. And in case of emergency, you can throw a phone in there, and it's not going to set fire to the rug or the desk or your house. I think that's just about it. So I've enjoyed doing that, actually. It's not really about me, but I've enjoyed doing it. I enjoy answering all your questions, and I love reading all your feedback. If your question wasn't answered, ask me again, and I'll try and answer it in the next episode that we do, which will be literally next week. I'm going to try and release these every Sunday for the next however long until people start watching them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Suck fucking dick.